So we're very fortunate tonight to start off our guest lecture series with an icon of the civil rights movement. You know, other cities have civil rights museums. We have Peter Johnson. So Peter, how in the hell did you get to Dallas?
Reluctantly. After the death of Dr. King in 1968, the reality of his real poverty set in with all of us. And the fact that Coretta was left with those little children without any money and without an income. He didn't have life insurance because no life insurance company would sell life insurance to Martin King. So after his death, the issue of the Poor People's Campaign was before us, something that was his last commitment on this earth. But the major problem was, how can we help Mrs. King raise these children financially? Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier and a Jewish producer from Hollywood named Samuel Livingston, we call him Sammy. These three men came up with an idea to raise, I don't remember what the figure was, but a lot of money to set aside in some kind of an ongoing trust fund for the Coretta and those little children. So Belafonte and Sammy Boy, they was going to take Dr. King's life and make a historical documentary film on his life. And it would premiere all over the world. And the idea was to raise this money to set it aside for Coretta King to raise her children. The movie was going to premiere in 800 cities around the world. And as we developed the strategy to organize this, and I realized that a part of the cities was going to be Honolulu and some of the real cool Paris. I was wondering, why can I go to the Caribbean islands? Seemed like a good idea. But I was sent to Dallas. The movie was going to premiere at 800 cities around the world. The reason I'm still here today is because 799 cities around the world welcomed the movie on Martin Luther King's life. Only one city on earth rejected the showing of the movie on King's life. Y'all live in that city. Dallas has a kind of unique relationship in terms of, they've always felt that black leadership was just figuring out what the cost was, how much to make the check out. And that's the nature of the relationship that the white power structure had with black leaders here. One of the reasons I wanted no parts of Dallas, and one of the reasons the civil rights movement wanted no parts of Dallas. The night I flew to Dallas, Andrew Young drove me from the national headquarters in Atlanta on Auburn Avenue to the airport in Atlanta, Georgia. When I got out of the car and was getting my luggage, these are the last things he told me. Try not to start a lot of shit in Texas. You know? Don't get killed on them. Don't do anything to help the Negro community in Dallas. Because there was a deep, deep bitterness toward the black community with the national leadership of the civil rights movement, because this is the only community that officially boycotted Martin Luther King while he was alive. So yeah, the Negro church leaders was a part of that reality here when I came here. But the city power structure had defined Dr. King as a communist troublemaker. And that the governor at that time was John Connally, and the day Dr. King was shot, he had made a public statement that we still have, that it was a good thing that he was shot in the mouth. That came from the governor of Texas. So it wasn't a place I really wanted to come. Basically, what I was told is that King was a communist sympathizer, and all of those of us who followed him were communists, and I'm not sure what that really meant at the time, or what it meant to be a communist. But for me personally, I was the youngest man to work for Dr. King, which meant I was the youngest man on his staff. So I was always in an ongoing struggle to establish my legitimacy and credibility among everybody else who was, John Lewis I'm 71, John Lewis is 75. Jesse got to be 76, so Julian would have been 76. So all them boys was older than me, and there was always a kind of an ongoing conflict because Andy Young, who was my homeboy, was my boss, and they would say, well, you know, y'all let Peter get away with stuff nobody else gets away with, which was kind of true. Well, because I was a student at Southern University, which is the largest black university in America, which means at the drop of a hat, I could bring 500 students anywhere I needed to go. If you wanted us to come to Selma, just let me know, we'll come and we'll. So they kind of needed me more than I needed them, because in terms of the black colleges in the South, I was the college leader at that time. So Dr. King and Reverend Abernathy, they did allow me to get away with stuff nobody else got away with. So coming here and not being successful, which would have meant for the rest of my career, I was going to have to listen to, well, you know, you never should have let Peter, he was too young in the first place, you know, to give him that kind of assignment. So I had a personal kind of reality not to fail in Dallas or in my Southwestern commitment. So I had made up my mind, no matter what happens, we were going to show the movie here, and we had developed a strategy, and that is I was going to show it on Forest Avenue, which is Martin Luther King now, and we had a house. We was going to put sheets up on the house, block off the streets ourselves, and show the movie free, and then pick up money, collect money. And that's how we was going to deal with Dallas, and invite all of our Jewish and white friends from SMU to come to the movie in the heart of the black community. About 3 or 4 days before the movie, I was contacted by the city power structure people wanting a meeting, and we met at Park Cities Baptist Church. And these were some of the whitest shirts I've ever seen in my life. And I was wondering, where y'all buy y'all shirts? I mean, yeah, this was H.L. Hunt, all of the, Trevor Crowe, H.L. Hunt, Ross Perot, but all of the kind of rich white men. And they kind of wanted to make a deal, and Dallas is, that's in their mind, that's what this was all about, making deals. And we'll make a contribution to this organization if you just get the hell out of our city. And that, tell us how much. First, for me personally, it was deeply offensive. Dr. King was dead. This wasn't no shit to play with me about, especially during those years at my age. And I can guarantee you those rich white men had never been cursed the way they got cursed that day in that church. At that time, I traveled everywhere with an armed bodyguard to let people know I'm not here to play with you. So they knew then that I ain't gonna go away, you ain't gonna run me away, and I'm damn sure not for sale. I was going to be here for a little over 3 months. Running all over the Southwest, no problems at all. The only problem was here. The theater was owned by a man named Gordon McClendon. He also owned a radio station, which made him real powerful today. If you pick a fight with somebody that got free radio time, it's kind of hard to win that fight. Sammy Livingston, Jewish man out in California, made a decision and was able to influence the movie distributors out in California to send a message to the man, to Gordon McClendon, that unless the King movie was shown here, there will be no more new movies coming out of Hollywood to this city. You know, so that's how that was done, and that's where the power came from. It came from a Jewish man in Hollywood. We call him Sammy Boy. His night disc jockey was a black man named Cousin Lenny, a black man that I knew very well. So we had made a deal with Cousin Lenny based on our friends at Stax Records. Cousin Lenny, we want you to do these things for us, and if we fire you, Stax and Isaac Hayes and my friends in Memphis gonna hire you. So we kind of got McClendon by his nuts one night and squeezed him. Yeah, to let him know that being rich and powerful don't really make you tough, because nonviolence is an extremely powerful weapon if you know how to use it. I mean, nonviolence can really, you can cripple a city with nonviolence. If you shoot at somebody, the problem, they might shoot back at you,